Imagine it's Monday morning, 7 o'clock, and you're on your way to Starbucks. You pick up your Starbucks and a nice little bagel, and you're continuing on your way to work. Now, you're passing through an intersection, and all of a sudden, you're hit by another car, and you have no idea what's happened. Now, this situation is pretty common. I've actually been in a few accidents myself, and I used to sell car insurance back in the day, so I have a pretty good background as to what to do in this scenario. First, assess the current situation and your surroundings. If you smell gas, you need to get away from the car as quickly as possible. So make sure that you can safely exit the vehicle and get to safety as quick as you can. Because the next thing that could happen is the car could be in flames or explode into a million different pieces. If you're stuck in a heavy flow of traffic, see if your car is still functional. If the car is functional, do your absolute best to keep an eye on your surroundings and get to the median in the center or off to the side of the road so that you can assess the situation with any other drivers. If the car is completely immobilized and you're not able to move the car, then you probably want to stay buckled if you're in a scenario where it's safe enough to be able to stay in the car. And then call the police, have them come out, and if there's any injuries, make sure you call the paramedics as well. In this case, it'll be a little safer for you to stay in the car buckled in your seatbelt because statistics show that accidents in your car are much safer than pedestrians walking across the street. Once you're in a situation where you can discuss with the other drivers, you're going to need to gather some information. And that's things like the full names, addresses, phone numbers, driver's license plates, vehicle identification number, and the insurance documents from all the parties involved so that you make sure you have all the information to make the claim at a later time. It's very likely that all this information can be found on 3 documents: the driver's license, the vehicle registration, and the proof of insurance documents. So it's best to take pictures of all 3 of those and then ask to verify that all that information is correct. Next, you're going to want to ask them to text you directly so that you have their phone number and you know it's a working number. In my experience with customers back when I was selling insurance, there were so many times where somebody would take a phone number from another person only to call it later and find out that it was a fax number or completely out of service. Make sure to take photos of all sides of the car just so you can document the damages that happened as a result of the accident. And then you'll probably want to go and take pictures of the surrounding areas as well, just so you have context as to where the accident was, the position that the cars were in, so that when you're submitting that to the claims or making the police report, you have solid evidence as to how things look. When speaking with other drivers involved in the accident, make sure only to exchange information and do not discuss specific details of the accident. You don't want to get into a situation where you self-incriminate yourself. Do not sign any no-fault agreements or at-fault agreements. Do not sign any legal documents stating that you won't pursue them in the event of an accident. Do not argue with the other drivers. Do not get into a fist fight. It's not worth it. I understand you're probably a little heated at the moment and it's a little difficult to get over that, but at that time, it's not going to make anything better. I usually prefer to make a police report because when you have a police report, it's a lot easier to have your claim noticed and there's less questions about it. And I know sometimes it's very difficult to get the police to come out to a scene, but do your best to see if you can get them to come out. And then when you're discussing with a police officer, make sure to state the facts as they happened and do not give opinions. There's some cases where accidents will leave no damages or no injuries, and in that case, you can evaluate the situation, make sure that everybody's okay. I would exchange the information that we discussed previously, but you can continue on your day fairly uninterrupted after that if you decide that you don't need to take any action. Now you should be ready to call your insurance claims department. But first, I would probably review all the details of the accident and maybe even write down some of the things that you want to tell them, because once you're on the phone, it's very easy to forget what you want to tell them, and you can start supplementing all of the details with just opinions of what happened or what you think had happened. But when you have all the details of the accident and the photos next to you, it's a lot easier to keep a consistent story. At this point, the insurance company will be determining the best course of action for you, whether it's keeping the claim in-house and taking care of it using your coverages, or seeking coverage from the other company in the event that you don't have the coverages to be able to support your claim. That basically means if you have deductibles, then you can pay your deductibles and have the insurance company repair your car, provide rental car coverage if you have it, and then they can eventually subrogate with the other insurance company and ask them to pay the bills. Sometimes in this case, you can ask for the rental car coverage if the other person was considered at fault, and then they will also subrogate, go after the other insurance company for the money in the event that, like I said, you were not considered at fault. If you are considered at fault and you don't have the deductible coverages to repair your car, then you would be responsible for fixing your own car on your own, but then the liability would kick in to cover the other party and take care of them. If you don't have deductibles and the other person is at fault, it's very likely that you're going to have to go to the other company and then seek reimbursement from them for all the damages so that they can go and fix your car, take care of any bodily injury damages, rental car, etc. The claims process is actually fairly complex, but it pretty much stems from your coverages, so I think it's really important to assess your coverages with your insurance agent to make sure you have the proper protection in the event of an accident. And having done all this beforehand will give you more of a peace of mind. And the claims process can be fairly lengthy, so just make sure that you're following up with them very frequently, pushing it along through the process, because sometimes they can drag their feet. I hope this video gave you a better idea of what to do in the event of an accident and a basic understanding of how the claims process works. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave any comments below. Please check in from week to week because I'm posting every Thursday at 2:30, something that most people don't typically learn in school, and I hope you found it valuable. Thank you again and take care.